Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30. 3 people are dead after a medical helicopter crashed in northern Kentucky. And President Biden canceled a planned foreign trip in order to monitor a powerful hurricane that could soon make landfall in Florida.
And we're seeing plenty of sunshine and temperatures hovering near normal, but will drop well below normal on the high end. I'll tell you when and how long it'll last coming up in a few minutes.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. 3 people are dead after a helicopter crash in northern Kentucky. The crash happened yesterday in Owen County. KSP troopers determined an air evac flight with 3 crew members on board en route to a medical transport had crashed. Initial findings from an FAA investigation say the helicopter struck a guy wire and caught fire after crashing. Gail Ailman, Bethany Akin, and James Welsh were all pronounced dead by the Owen County coroner. A death investigation is underway after 3 people were found dead in a southern Kentucky home. Troopers say the bodies were found Sunday morning at a home on Lake Point Drive in Clinton County. Troopers say 2 women, Linda Flowers and Linda Crouch, were found dead inside the home from gunshot wounds. According to our sister station, a man identified as Brent Flowers was also found dead outside of the home from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Well, we had a mixture of sunshine and temperatures around normal as we rolled throughout the day. Take a look here at the next 24 hours with your first alert. Everything is lit up green, meaning A-OK for the next several hours. And outside right now, we're seeing temperatures still in the 60s and 70s. We have plenty of sunshine out there. Temperatures right now, there you go. Upper 60s towards Pikeville, mid 60s from Logan to Grundy down to Clintwood, 64 in Wise, 70s from Prestonsburg down to Monticello. So here's a look at future view. We'll go ahead and start the clock over the next several hours, and you're noticing as we go throughout the evening hours, temperatures will stay in the mid 50s. By the 8 o'clock time frame, we'll see clear skies as we go throughout the evening and overnight hours. By the start of Wednesday morning, we'll see temperatures in the low 40s, some places, especially towards Jackson as well as Wise. Would not surprise me if you wake up to temperatures in the upper 30s. And then again, we stay mainly sunny as we go throughout the afternoon and early evening hours. So all in all, if you liked yesterday and you like today, I think you're going to like tomorrow. And I think you're going to like the remainder of the week. But there's a change in the forecast, and it's involving much, much cooler air. We'll talk about that in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Amelia.
Thank you, Eric. We continue to monitor the situation with Hurricane Milton. This is video of airmen in Florida preparing for the hurricane, which is set to make landfall later this week. Milton's path looks to be heading eastward as it has now intensified back into a Category 5 hurricane. Officials with the National Hurricane Center say the storm had maximum sustained winds of 150 miles per hour over warm waters in the Gulf of Mexico. President Biden canceled a planned foreign trip in order to monitor Hurricane Milton. Gray Television's White House correspondent John Decker has that story.
With Hurricane Milton due to make landfall in Florida soon, President Biden urging those who have been ordered to leave to evacuate soon. President Biden met with his storm preparation team Tuesday in the Roosevelt Room, announcing that he's already approved emergency declarations in Florida.
This could be the worst storm hit Florida in over a century. And God willing it won't be, but that's what it's looking like right now.
In response to a question from Gray Media, the president said that he's spoken to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and he's assured him that the federal government will stand with Florida.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call.
Because of potential damage from Hurricane Milton, the president has canceled his planned travel to Germany and Angola, telling reporters that he'd like to reschedule the trip, but just doesn't think that he can be out of the country at this time. At the White House, I'm John Decker.
With Milton continuing to make its path toward Florida, FEMA crews are already stationed there. The Department of Homeland Security's Assistant Director Dan Watson says some of them are teaming up with the state of Florida in the Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee. FEMA has also deployed urban search and rescue teams, and there are Coast Guard swiftwater rescue teams ready to support search and rescue efforts immediately after the storm hits.
If you are staying in an area where there's an evacuation order, you're not only putting your life at risk, you're putting the life of the first responder at risk who's going to have to come and get you. So, it's not brave. The correct thing to do, the right thing to do is to follow the direction and evacuate.
As we told you before, Milton is set to make landfall later this week, likely either tomorrow night or in the overnight hours of Thursday morning. A 2015 report from Boston-based catastrophe modeling firm Karen Clark & Co. concluded Tampa Bay is the most vulnerable place in the U.S. to storm surge flooding from a hurricane. So what makes the city so vulnerable? Just between 2022 and last year, more than 51,000 people moved to the area. Along with the huge population, a scientist with NASA says due to global warming, global climate models predict hurricanes will likely cause more intense rainfall. At least 3 major theme parks are closing amid Hurricane Milton approaching Florida. Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, and SeaWorld are all closing their theme parks and respective entertainment facilities tomorrow. Universal has also canceled Halloween Horror Nights, which was scheduled for both tomorrow and Thursday. Turning to other news now, J.D. Vance paid a visit to Michigan today. Senator Vance was in Detroit to continue his tour ahead of next month's election. It is the second time in less than a week the Ohio senator has been in Michigan. He talked about a number of topics, including the new book released by journalist Bob Woodward. The book claims Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have talked as many as 7 times since 2021. Here is what Senator Vance had to say about that.
What little I know about Bob Woodward is that he is, I'm going to use a word here. He is a hack. The guy's a hack. So have I talked to Donald Trump about his calls with Vladimir Putin? No. I've never had that conversation with Donald Trump in my life.
Senator Vance also addressed a concern about the possibility of there being a riot following the election, saying, quote, "We do not riot and we discourage rioting." Vice President and Democratic nominee for President Kamala Harris also continued their run on the campaign trail. Harris was joined by her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, as they are making rounds on the West Coast. A little while ago, the two departed Washington state before touching down in California. The future of regulating so-called ghost guns, unserialized and nearly untraceable guns, which can be made from kits sold online, is now in the hands of the Supreme Court. As CBS's Natalie Brand reports, justices appeared skeptical of the challenge brought by gun right groups.
New regulations on ghost guns went before the U.S. Supreme Court Tuesday in a case brought by gun rights groups and manufacturers challenging the restrictions.
Some individuals, just like some individuals enjoy like working on their car every weekend, some individuals want to construct their own firearms.
ATF rules treat the weapons typically assembled from at-home kits like commercial firearms with background checks, serial numbers, and sales records. The Biden administration argues that's needed to keep them out of the hands of minors and criminals, saying ghost gun use in crimes rose more than 1,000% from 2017 to 2021.
It makes perfect sense because the whole reason why you would want to get your hands on one of these unserialized, untraceable firearms is if you are a prohibited person or you want to use that gun in a crime.
Justices used an analogy to question when and how individual parts become a gun.
I put out on a counter some eggs, some chopped up ham, some chopped up pepper and onions. Is that a Western omelet?
No, because again, those items have well-known other uses to become something other than an omelet.
Would your answer change if you ordered it from HelloFresh and you got a kit and it was like turkey chili, but all of the ingredients are in the kit?
Yes, and I think that presses on the more apt analogy here.
Overall, justices signaled they're likely to side with the Biden administration and keep the ATF rules in place.
They can quickly and easily be turned into operable weapons. The justices clearly saw that.
While gun safety groups feel optimistic, the attorney representing ghost gun manufacturers argues the ATF is overstepping its authority.
It allows the agency to act in a manner that Congress has not authorized it to act.
The justices previously agreed to allow enforcement of the rule until they decide the case. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court is not expected to issue a ruling in this case until next year. The Supreme Court has declined to hear an appeal from parents in Michigan and Virginia in a freedom of speech case. The parents accused Attorney General Merrick Garland of stifling their freedom of speech with a 2021 memo asking officials to look into threats against public school officials. The memo sparked backlash and false claims that the Justice Department believed parents speaking up about school policies at board meetings were domestic terrorists. TikTok is facing more legal pressure. 14 states, including Kentucky, filed lawsuits claiming that the social media platform harms children's mental health. The lawsuits claim TikTok uses an addictive content recommendation system that puts profit over safety. They claim it is designed to keep minors on the app as long as possible, which then helps TikTok boost revenue from selling targeted ads. They cited TikTok's endless scrolling feed of content can also disrupt sleep. A proposed rule would prevent credit reporting agencies from sharing your medical debit information with lenders. What that could mean for your credit score, up next.
And in the world of weather, we'll see temperatures hovering around normal for a few more days, but there's a big change somewhere. Details in a few minutes. Stay with us.